Good afternoon and welcome to the third concurrent session of the day, Assignments Design for General Education Courses at Wesleyan College. Our presenter today is Dr. Ying Zhen, faculty member at Wesleyan College. If you have any questions for the presenter during the session, please feel free to enter those into the Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom room screen, and we will address them at the end of the talk. And on that note, I will hand it over to our presenter.
Thanks, Kate, and thanks to Hawks Learning for having me again. And if I remember correctly, this is my third time presenting at the Innovative Educators Summit. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and I hope everyone can see my slides clearly. If not, feel free to let me know. My topic is assignments design for general education courses at Wesleyan College. And here you can find my information. And this is my 11th year teaching at Wesleyan College. And we are the first women's college in the world, founded in 1836. And we have a very informative general education program. And here you can see the website. So if you could click on this website for more details. So Wesleyan College's general education program gives students the chance to gain knowledge and develop skills needed to live purposefully and successfully in a rapidly changing world. So this is from its intro. And a Wesleyan College graduate sees the importance of makes connections among liberal arts disciplines. So we are a liberal arts institution. Therefore, general education is very, very important for us. And students should take courses from 4 academic divisions: fine arts, humanities, natural science, and mathematics, social and behavioral sciences, and professional studies. And the program requires 34 to 35 credit hours and a minimum of 11 courses. And students should take 2 courses with different prefixes from each of the 4 academic divisions. And there are 6 domains of knowledge and synthesizing perspectives. So the first is historical events and phenomena. Second is natural world. The third, individuals and communities. The fourth, thinking and expressing creatively. The fifth, women's experiences. And the sixth, which is the last, is diverse and interdependent world. Actually, it's not very easy to provide an equal amount of courses under each category. And today, I'll just share with you my 3 general education courses. And of course, they are all economics courses. And they are under 3 different domains. So you can see the first course is the intro level macroeconomics, which is called Econ 102 Issues in Macroeconomics. And this course used to be listed under the 6th domain. And personally, I would prefer that. So it's under diverse and interdependent world, how living in a diverse and interdependent world presents both challenges and opportunities. As we know that macroeconomics studies the climate of the economy. It studies the big picture of the economy. Therefore, it satisfies the 6th domain pretty well. However, as I mentioned earlier, it's not very easy to find to list an equal amount of courses under each category. So this course was moved to the first domain, which is called historical events and phenomena. And I'm also teaching history of economic thoughts, which is a perfect fit under this category. However, for intro level macroeconomics, it still has a lot to do with the first domain. So macroeconomics studies the key economic climate indicators such as unemployment rate, inflation rate. And of course, there are many historical events that have a lot to do with such key climate indicators. And we definitely need to look back on the history and then see how they would affect nowadays and also in the future. And we need those historical data to observe and to analyze. Therefore, it also makes sense to list intro-level macroeconomics under the first domain, historical events and phenomena. So since its domain has been changed, the assignments may have to be adjusted to satisfy the different student learning outcomes. And the second course is called Econ 104, Issues in Microeconomics. And this course fits the third domain very well, individuals and communities, which is about how individuals function and interact within and among communities. And microeconomics, from its prefix micro, micro means small. So microeconomics studies the small economic actors, such as individuals, such as households and firms. And we look at how they interact in the marketplace and how they interact in order to optimize. Yeah, so that's why the intro level microeconomics is listed under individuals and communities. And the last course, which is very unique because this course is not a traditional economics course. It's called Women and Economic Development. This course has many alternative names. So in other institutions, it could be called Economics of Gender. And at Wesleyan College, this course is cross-listed. So it's a shared course by business program, economics program, and women's studies program, and it works very well. Yeah, so this course is under domain 5, women's experiences, how women's experiences are shaped by such factors as age, class, ethnicity, gender, race, religion, and sexuality. Again, we're a women's college, so this course is of fundamental importance for us. And as a general education course, this course usually has relatively big class sizes. And as a 200 level economics course, it actually doesn't require any prerequisites. Students are not required to take intro level microeconomics or macroeconomics before taking this course, because this is a general education course. So basically it's open to all, but it's a 200 level economics course. Yeah, so all of such characteristics pose some challenges to teaching and learning. Yeah, some students are very, very interested in taking this class, and some may not. Yeah, some may just have to take this course in order to graduate. But so this class even requires more effort from the instructors to make teaching and learning smoothly and also to maximize them. Okay, so today my presentation would show how such assignments for each course would help satisfy the various student learning outcomes along with the reporting and response to data. So after teaching each general education class, we are required to fill out a form to make sure student learning outcomes are satisfied, and we also need to report data. Yeah, so actually it's more strict, yeah, when teaching such general education courses. So here I just want to share with you some example assignments, and again I'd like to make this presentation opportunity to basically to communicate with you all, and we just share and exchange ideas. So it doesn't mean those assignments are perfect, and I'm sure a lot of you may have much better assignments than mine. But here I just want to share with you several representative assignments from my courses. Okay, so here you can see, yeah, the first class issues in macroeconomics. We have two major student learning outcomes. The first is analyze change and continuity in the development of a particular historical event, behavior, or phenomenon. So you can see the first, the learning outcome, might be at a lower difficulty level, and then the second is to explain the connection between a current event, behavior, or phenomenon, and an event or series of events in the past. So yes, we can tell the relationship between the two major outcomes. Actually, it's not necessary for the second to be at a deeper level than the first one. They could be parallel. Yeah, so we could pay attention to the following two courses shortly. So for the first student learning outcome, my assignment is to write a 300 to 500 words discussion on our course website, which is Canvas, under discussions on Jacobson 1999 paper. So this is a very formal academic journal article, and usually those freshmen, sophomore, may find reading academic journal articles very challenging, but it's very necessary to train them at this stage in order to prepare them for future challenges, because there are many more papers for them to read in upper level classes and also in other courses. So I strongly recommend this paper. So this paper actually is also one of the readings in my Women and Economic Development class. So this paper is a great study that analyzes the differences between male and females labor force participation trends in the US since 1900. So I think I made a typo. So male and females labor force participation trends in the US since 1900. It's a very, very organized paper, but I encourage students to summarize it and then make comment and also analyze this article and explain how the assignment aligns with the identified student learning outcomes. So here I just wrote, this assignment aims to develop students' economic journal reading skills and critical thinking and writing. And it's an open-ended assignment. And this journal article fits this student learning outcome very well by analyzing the different changes and continuity between men and women in their labor force participation trends. It's a lengthy article, but it's very organized. Therefore, it's not too challenging for like freshman, sophomore to read this article. It's not very quantitative, but it's very, very organized. So they are encouraged to summarize the key information that compares and contrasts gender expectations over time and across cultures. Yeah, so this definitely has a lot to do with the historical events or phenomena. And for the second student learning outcomes, so I would give them a problem set question. So they will discuss the leading leading causes of the Great Depression. So the Great Depression is definitely a historical event, very well known, and they need to use the 45-degree line diagram, which is the Keynesian cross, to show how they caused a decline in GDP. And again, we study the past in order to gain insights towards the current issues. So therefore, I would encourage them to relate this to the labor market during the recession in general, because there were several recessions, very well-known recessions happened afterwards. For example, a very recent one that happened in 2007 and ended until 2013, which is a very long one. So I would encourage them to relate to more recent recessions, and especially the most recent one, the pandemic of COVID-19. And we are still during the pandemic, although it's getting to its end. Yeah. So I'd like to use this assignment to develop their analytical skill on economic recession, and it fits the second student learning outcome very well. So they need to explain the connection between a current event, behavior or phenomenon, an event or series of events in the past. Okay, and for the second course, the intro level microeconomics, also two major student learning outcomes. The first one is to analyze how individual and social processes and behaviors shape specific institutions, policies, or outcomes. So my assignment to satisfy this learning goal is to give a question which is about negative externality. The fumes from dry cleaners can contribute to air pollution. So if you also teach economics, and if you also adopt Hubbard and O'Brien, you could find this question is one of the end of chapter questions at the end of chapter 5. So use a graph to show its negative externality effect and explain how a government can use a tax on dry cleaning to bring about the efficient level of production. What should be the value of the tax be? How large is the deadweight loss for excessive dry cleaning according to the figure? So this is a very, very practical assignment, and this can greatly help students understand negative externality, which is a negative side effect from individuals or firms to the third party. So environment pollution is a great example. Therefore, if we consider the third party's benefits, which means if we consider the entire society, we need to modify the firm's behavior and try our best to reach the social optimality. And also we'll think about what kind of government policies could be in order to internalize such negative external effects. So from our textbook, right? So students would learn that imposing a tax is a typical way to internalize a negative externality. And on the other hand, providing a subsidy is to solve the problem of positive externality. Therefore, I believe that this assignment could satisfy the first student learning outcome very well. And the other student learning outcome evaluate ethical and moral positions that shape individual or group decisions. So for this assignment, actually it's a very, very classical assignment, which is using the fishing game to help students understand the tragedy of the common resource. Yeah, it also stimulates students' enthusiasm in studying the challenging materials and helps instructors to teach in a more creative way. Yes, because this topic is also pretty graphical, but the idea behind the analysis is very straightforward. So it's very important to assign property rights, so I always let students play this game in class because a lot of students are afraid of the graphs and the quantitative materials in general in economics courses, and based on historical data. And so if you know CSWEP committee on the women's status in the economics profession, so this is one of the 6 standing committees of American Economic Association. So I've been involved with this organization for so many years, and every year they survey especially women in economics departments at various institutions, and they generate a report. And very sad that economics is still very, very male dominant. So this is a big challenge for us women's college. We'd like to get more women to pursue economics as their field. So right now we don't have economics major, we have economics minor. So we'd like to encourage more students to declare economics minor, but a lot of them are very, very intimidated from the very beginning, especially in microeconomics, because it's more graphical, more quantitative. Therefore, playing such games would stimulate their interests. And for this spring, so I happen to run out of those game supplies, but then I saw a decoration on my desk, which is which is like this. So there are so many plastic stars. So I just removed some of them, and I told students, let's pretend they're fish, and I have a small whiteboard, and actually the game turned out to be very, very successful. So students liked it. And so for spring, we have a split term section for this class. So I got some feedback, so I can see that a lot of students they clearly remember this game, because I also gave them some feedback questions. So a lot of them wrote they would walk away with the fishing game. So I hope this assignment can at least inspire you to incorporate more games in your courses, especially when your courses are very quantitative. Okay, and the last course is Women and Economic Development. So also 2 major student learning outcomes. The first one, one is compare gender expectations over time and across cultures. And I also assign a journal article, but this is much longer article than Jacobson 1999, so Golden 2006. It has 19 pages. The Quiet Revolution that transformed women's employment, education, and family. So this is a perfect reading in order to satisfy this learning outcomes. This is an online discussion board assignment. So students should summarize and then make comments and analyze it on their own, and they have to reply to their classmates' posts. So I always encourage them to follow a very formal format as a standard academic journal article. So I encourage them to first to summarize by using one sentence, what is the central question of the paper, and then in 2 or 3 sentences, explain why this issue is important. Yeah, because I always mention to them that it's not just reading a paper. Eventually, you'll be working on your own term paper or your thesis. So you have to learn from others first. So what is the central question of the paper? So this is like your research question. So when you do your own research, you have to find out a very specific topic at the very beginning, and then explain why this issue is important. So in your own study, you have to introduce the background of your research, and this is usually in your introduction. So you have to introduce to the reader why you want to conduct such a study. And for undergraduate classes, especially general education courses, I ask them to focus on the main results or conclusions of the paper instead of trying to figure out the econometrics model or the theoretical framework, or so that's not our focus, and that may discourage them from pursuing this, from pursuing economics as their main field. So I ask them to focus on the main results, and then I encourage them to describe one specific weakness of the paper. They cannot say, oh, it's too boring, it's too long. So they have to be they have to make very specific and thoughtful comments. But a lot of students commented this paper is unnecessarily long. So but they explained why, right? So this is a very well-known paper, but I'm impressed. Our students are very critical, which is necessary in order to right, in order to move forward the academic studies. And I also encourage them to point out what further academic research work could be done in this area. This is also part of the standard academic journal article. So when they do their own research, they have to point out their weakness, and therefore point out the future direction of research, to encourage other scholars to continue on this topic, and they could also continue on their own topic as well. So basically, students need to learn how to academically respond to the paper, and how they investigate similar issues, and how would you research items that were speculated upon or not sufficiently supported in the paper? If you dislike the paper, what sort of investigation would you conduct to refute or counter the arguments provided? If you had complete control over people's lives, what experiment could you run to test some theory or relationship? And also their reply must be at least 100 words. One reply is required each week, but additional replies would earn bonus points. So personally, I think this is a great assignment to satisfy such a student learning outcome. The other student learning outcome is analyze issues pertaining to one or more of the factors shaping women's experience. So here I just share with you two quiz questions. They are very similar because gender discrimination or racial discrimination are usually misused. Yeah, a lot of people just see, okay, there is a gender wage gap, or like the wage gap between, like, among ethnicities or races, and then they immediately conclude that this is due to discrimination, but it's not necessarily discrimination. And this course would also equip students with a general idea of conducting empirical research. So they need to use data. They need to collect data on many regards that may affect people's income levels and many other factors also play a very important role. So we cannot just immediately conclude it's due to discrimination. Whenever we see a pay gap. So you can see the two quiz questions, they are very similar. The first is about a gender pay gap between men and women, and 50% of this difference was explained by marriage and children. That married women with children earned less. Is this discrimination? Use economic analysis in your answer. So most students haven't taken econometrics, but they will learn the basic idea behind empirical regressions. So all else being equal, and then if gender results in a wage differential, then we could conclude that, but all the other regards must be exactly the same. And the second question is about women earn 70% of what men earn, and the author of the article attributes this difference to occupational difference and concludes that the pay gap is a result of the occupations women choose. So at least question 2 complements question 1. So we can see that, right, the pay gap, yeah, could be due to occupational difference, and this is actually one of the key factors that would determine your income level. But both questions, would satisfy this learning outcome, analyze issues pertaining to one or more of the factors shaping women's experience, and here I explain how they align with the identified student learning outcome. So you can easily read this paragraph, and the 2 quiz questions also encourage students learning of human capital investment, which is another big topic in this course as well. And at last, response to the data. So we are required to fill out the table and also answer the question every time when we teach this course. So the first is just record the number of students in each rating. How many students you think have satisfied the first learning outcome? So this is directly from the 3rd class. And how many students have satisfied the second student learning outcome? So they are based on their performance throughout the semester. And then look at the data reported above. What do you plan to do differently the next time you teach this class to improve student learnings on the identified outcomes? So this question encourages you to modify your teaching plan, always modifying. Since we have to do this after teaching each section. So I find the second question, very, very constructive. Okay, so that's all I'd like to share with you today. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your time. Okay, so may I know if you have any questions?
Thank you so much. Let me go check if there are any questions. So far, there are no questions in the Q&A.
Okay, no problem.
That were answered.
Yeah, because this is a very, very straightforward presentation.
Thank you so much. Well,
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
on that note, if you do have any questions, you can send those in to us. We appreciate your time today. And
we do have a question. I can see. So Jay Huff said thank you, and then another question. Okay, I guess it's a different time zones, right? So Janet Daniel wrote at 1:35 p.m. Okay, so it's her 1:35. Yeah, so it's actually now. It's my 2:35 p.m. Okay, so thanks for the question, Janet. Can you give us an idea of how to incorporate this into a principal class? Would you please clarify a little bit? Did you
sorry
mean
to interrupt
the third class or?
Sorry to interrupt. Those questions were from the previous panel, I believe. So there are no open questions at this time. But thank you so much for everything that you have shared today, for all the valuable information. The next concurrent session will begin at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time. You can view the chat for session meeting room links or access the conference website for a complete list of concurrent sessions and their descriptions. And while accessing the conference website, don't forget to swing by the virtual exhibit hall to say hello to the Hawks team. And while there, you can view a quick 5-minute demonstration, request your t-shirt, and be entered to win a $50 hourly giveaway. Also, in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, you'll find a few golden coins throughout the conference website. Click on the coins to be entered to win an additional raffle, and we will see you at the next session.
Thank you very much, Kate. And thanks to all the audience, although I cannot see you. And I hope you have a great day and enjoy the rest sessions.